Buzz Talk, a channel dedicated to growth and self-transformation. This is Radhika Pundir, an image consultant, a soft skills trainer, and an NLP master practitioner. Today I'm going to discuss a theory which will help us to understand the behavior of other people as well as our own behavior. It all begins with communication and the first 5 years of our life. Ever since the time a human being is born till the time he dies, he communicates. Communication is the most essential component of human life. If we want to survive, we have to communicate. Like when a child is born, he cries. He is communicating that either he is hungry or he wants physical comfort. So communication is next to breathing. Now communication can take on many forms, one of them being interpersonal or intrapersonal. Interpersonal when we are communicating with two or more people, and intrapersonal when we are communicating with our own self. It is probing into our own personalities. At times, we fail to understand the behavior of other people. We fail to understand why they behaved in a particular way. And at times, we fail to understand our very own behavior and are faced with questions as, what had come over me? Why did I have to react like that? Or maybe, why didn't I speak up? Or maybe, why wasn't I a better father or a better mother? So it is very difficult to understand our very own behavior. From all these things, one thing is very evident, that man has a multiple nature. Somerset Maugham said, and I quote, "There are times when I look over the various parts of my character with perplexity, I recognize that I am made up of several persons, and that the person that at the moment has the upper hand will inevitably give place to another. But which is the real one? All of them or none?" Unquote. The answer lies in one of the most promising breakthroughs in psychiatry, transactional analysis. And that is what I'm going to speak about today. The concept of transactional analysis was developed by a clinical psychiatrist, Dr. Eric Berne, in 1964. Dr. Eric Berne observed that as you watch and listen to people, you see them change in front of your very own eyes. The changes are not in terms of your skin, bone structure or clothes. They remain the same. So what changes inside them is the main question. The changes are in terms of your facial expressions, your vocabulary, your gesture, posture and body functions, which may cause the face to flush, the heart to pound, or the breathing to become rapid. We see these changes in everyone when one is feeling excited, sad, happy, or even sensitive. So what changes inside a person? He changes from what to what? This was the question which fascinated Berne in the early development of transactional analysis. According to Berne, there are 3 states in all of us: the parent state, the adult state, and the child state, irrespective of our age. It is as if in each one of us, there is that little child we were when we were 3 years old. There is also recordings of what our parents said or did during the first 5 years of our life. The third state, which is the adult, which is the thinking part of our personality. To give you an example, like you have decided you'll go for a walk every morning at 5:30 a.m. The alarm clock rings at 5:30 a.m. But then there is a voice inside you which says, keep sleeping, we'll start the walk from tomorrow. Okay, and then there is another voice which tells you, a critical voice which comes up and tells you, that is the reason you're not able to fulfill your goals. And then there is one voice which motivates you to get up and says, cross your comfort zone, take action, and then you get up and you go for that walk. That voice is the adult in you. Now before I explain the 3 states in detail, let me talk about the importance of the first 5 years of a person's life. Okay? For this, I'll explain to you the different births. The first being the cellular birth, when the child comes into the mother's womb. That is why they say a pregnant lady should always be happy, because how a mother feels during her pregnancy will directly affect the child. The second state being the physical birth. Physical birth as in when the child actually comes into this world and starts breathing. The third birth is your locomotor at the age of 10 months when a child starts crawling. Before I explain the ego states in detail, I would like to talk about the first 5 years of a person's life and how crucial they are. There are different kinds of births which we undergo. The first being the cellular birth, when we come into our mother's womb. That is why they say a pregnant mother should always be happy, because how a lady feels during this time, it will directly affect the child in her womb. The second birth being the physical birth, when the child actually takes the birth, comes into this world and starts breathing. Third being the psychological birth, when the child is picked up for the first time, is cuddled by the parents, breastfed by the mother. This is the psychological birth. Then comes the locomotor birth. At about 10 months of age, when the child starts crawling, starts finding his own identity, that is locomotor. And then finally, the social birth, when at the age of 4 or 5, the child starts going to a formal school. The entire personality of a child's life, ego states. Parent ego state. Parent ego state was the first state to develop in all of us. It is made up of recordings of what we saw our mother and father or our parental figures do during the first 5 years of our life. It was recorded unedited because the little child was completely dependent on the parents and couldn't question the parents. It was recorded unedited no matter what, the parents were always right. Now if the child had parents who were caring, loving and sympathetic, his parent ego state would be of a nurturing parent. And if the child have parents who were critical and judgmental, his parent ego state will be of a critical kind. Fine? After this is the child ego state. Next, the child ego state. The child ego state is recording of our internal events in response to the external events. The most potent internal events during our childhood were feelings. So whatever we felt during that time when we were between 1 to 5 years of age, that was recorded. And those feelings still play up in the future when we are unfairly accused or we are cornered or when someone is getting judgmental. Fine? These feelings frequently play up in the present when we are put in the same position as of the little child, when we are cornered, unfairly accused, or when someone is getting judgmental towards us. Okay? Now the child ego state can be of two kinds. It can be the most delightful part of a personality and it can also be the problematic part of a personality. Delightful how? Like when we go to the beach, we feel like jumping on the beach. Or when we go for a party, right? We feel like dancing. Or when we feel like just having fun. That's the delightful part of a personality. Even when we are creative and inventive, that's the delightful part of a personality. And problematic? You must have seen adults who throw plates and throw tantrums like a small child. So that's the problematic part of the personality when one is behaving like a problem child. Okay. Now we move on to the third part of the personality, the balanced side of a personality, the rational side of a personality. The one who controls the desires of the child and the demands of the parents. One who balances these factors is the adult. The adult is the one who solves problems, who mediates and thinks. And it is very important to keep our adult active and integrated. So to be effective in life and have good relationships with others, remember to always pamper your child and the child in others. By going for holidays, having fun, going for parties together, why not? And then having an ego state of a nurturing parent and always keeping your adult active and integrated. One of the best ways to keep your adult active and integrated is by counting 1 to 10 before you react. Because when you're counting from 1 to 10, your adult ego state comes up. After this, I'm going to talk about a very interesting concept called stroking. For this, I would like to quote an example from Tare Zameen Par, one of the most beautiful movies on child psychology. If you remember, in the movie, Amir Khan talks about Solomon Island, where he says, in the island, if one wanted to cut the tree, everyone used to gather around the tree and used to curse the tree. The tree itself used to die and fall off. That is negative stroking. And to quote an example about positive stroking, I would like to talk about Munna Bhai MBBS. I'm sure all of us have seen that movie. In Munna Bhai MBBS, there is a term called Jadoo Ki Jhappi, the magical hug. That is positive stroking. So stroking can either be positive or negative. Like if someone tells you, you're looking very beautiful today, that's a positive stroke. If someone tells you that is not the right way of doing things, or you're a bad person, that's a negative stroke, right? Even a hug, that's a positive stroke. But one starts looking for negative strokes. Imagine if you are feeling totally avoided in a group or someone tries to completely avoid you, how will you feel? So in the absence of no strokes at all, people start looking for negative strokes. But the best are of course positive strokes. One of the best ways of getting a positive stroke in today's time is a like on FB. The moment you upload a pic, imagine when you get a like on that pic, how you feel. So that's about stroking. After this, we move on to life positions. Life positions is a very, very important concept in transactional analysis because it talks about the different life positions we adopt. And the life position what we adopt between first and the 7th year of our life, that becomes permanent. The first life position is I'm not okay, you're okay. This is the universal position of early childhood. When a child is born, he feels I'm not okay because he is dependent on others. He is crying and he feels the parents are okay because at this moment cuddling is present, that physical warmth is present. So the first position a person attains is I'm not okay, you are okay. A person for whom this recording becomes permanent adopts this life position, and these are the people, mind you, who are the most successful also in their life because they are always looking out for positive strokes because they feel I'm not okay and you are okay. But then when this position gets in its extreme form, these are the people who commit suicide. They get the suicidal tendencies. The next position is I'm not okay, you're not okay. A child who earlier felt that his parents were okay now starts feeling they are not okay for various reasons. Maybe another child has come into the family or the parents have started working and they have no time for the child at all. So the child who initially felt that they were okay now starts feeling that they are not okay. So the life position becomes I'm not okay, you're not okay. And in extreme form, these are the people who become social dropouts. The third life position is the life position of criminals. I am okay, you are not okay. The child who is brutalized long enough by their parents, even to the extent that they break their bones while beating the child. These are the children who adopt the life position, I am not okay, you are not okay. Because this is a life-saving position for them. Incorrigible criminals, they adopt this life position. And in extreme form, these are the ones who are homicidals. They can murder. The rapist, they all have this life position. And the fourth life position is the position we all should be in. I am okay, you are okay. People whom you see who have the most productive relationships in their life, who are well balanced, who are happy in their life, they are the people who follow their passions. They are the people who is in this life position of I am okay, you are okay. And they have a very strong integrated adult. The adult ego state is always active and integrated. In the end, I would like to say, it is possible to rewrite your script and make the journey forward a beautiful one by consciously changing your life position to I'm okay, you're okay, and responding from the ego state you want to. It's your choice, it's in your hands. So be aware of your ego states, and finally the choice is yours. Thank you.